Hello, everyone in ASL. This is the Martha's Vineyard group filled with amazing people. As you can see, we're going to talk about Martha's Vineyard, which is a luscious green island located. Wait, where is it located? Sorry, I forgot where it's located.
Oh.
In Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, okay.
Okay.
Okay, in Massachusetts, okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Set, go.
Hello, everyone. This is the Martha's Vineyard group. As you can see below, we are doing Martha's Vineyard. Below that, there's a luscious picture of Martha's Vineyard, which is a beautiful island located off the coast of Massachusetts. And as you can see, there are many great features, such as the luscious green grass and also the lighthouses, which are scattered across the vineyard. And so let's begin.
Alrighty, so as Megan said, Martha's Vineyard is a small island off the southern coast of Massachusetts. This small island is known for the anomaly of a very large deaf population starting in the late 17th century, lasting till the early 20th century. The islanders developed their own form of sign language known as Martha's Vineyard Sign Language. And we have just a short video to show you. Alrighty, so as the video explained, the vineyard was an anomaly because there has never been such an inclusive society like it. They taught their children at a young age Martha's Vineyard Sign Language so that hearing and deaf children can communicate equally, and it would be an open conversation. The large deaf population was, as the video said, due to a recessive gene traced back to Kent County, England. And the recessive gene was so prominent because of intermarriages and parents being genetically related.
So why did this anomaly occur? So an anomaly is something peculiar or abnormal that deviates from the standard and that's not easily classified. So like that has a lot of deaf and hearing people living together was something very unheard of. So an estimated 1 in 155 people in the island were deaf during the 19th century in the island. Intermarriage is a large reason why this recessive gene spread. So humans have 2 copies of the gene, and when the relatives of the same genes intertwined, the complications occurred and the child usually inherited the recessive variant. And in this case, it was the deafness. So the deaf successful lives and careers with no exclusion of the deaf community, even with the hearing people living there. And along with the majority of the island knew Martha's Vineyard Sign Language. So people could communicate wherever they are. If you went to the store, everyone knew how to talk to everybody.
Alrighty, so how did the Vineyard's population affect American education? So Laurent Clerc and Thomas Gallaudet, they moved to America to create the first institution for deaf people. Laurent Clerc was actually a deaf Frenchman, so he knew French Sign Language. But because of the high population, as we just discussed before, of people signing in MVSL, or Martha's Vineyard Sign Language, Laurent Clerc and the residents of the Vineyard combined French Sign Language and Martha's Vineyard Sign Language to create ASL. And that is a sign language taught today in American schools, and yeah. So how does the Vineyard's population affect American education? So at Gallaudet University, the students are actually taught how to teach ASL to children. That's just one example from Gallaudet University. And then Martha's Vineyard, actually, the legacy still lives on today, because just right now, students are learning American Sign Language in America today, and people who are learning American Sign Language learn about the island and its culture. And the students at Gallaudet University, they tend to study the inclusivity of people living on the island, because that's kind of I would hope that'd be the dream goal of inclusion that we have on America. And on the side here, that's a picture of Gallaudet University. That's not from the island. Courtney, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted for a second. I'm going to talk about Martha's Vineyard Sign Language and its transition to American Sign Language. So around the 20th century, the deaf residents were in the process of migrating to the mainland. And so the adults, they really had no reason to learn a new language. So they pretty much just continued to use Martha's Vineyard Sign Language for the remainder of their lives. And then the children, they still had to attend school. So fortunately, many were able to attend the American School for the Deaf, which at the time was pretty new. So Martha's Vineyard Sign Language, along with other signing systems that other students had been using, merged and became American Sign Language. And then with the students switch to American Sign Language, this sort of caused Martha's Vineyard Sign Language to fade and eventually die. And then these are just a couple of pictures. The first one, Cogswell Heritage House, American School for the Deaf, and some kiddos who attended it. And then on the right, Marjorie Rogers. This was a resident from Martha's Vineyard, and this photo came from the Vineyard Gazette.
Okay, so now it's time for some fun facts about Martha's Vineyard. So if you are a fan of the movie Jaws, the movie was filmed on Martha's Vineyard in the region of Chilmark. Also, Martha's Vineyard houses the oldest operating carousel in the United States. So if you're a fan of thrill, you should go there. The Flying Horses Carousel, which was built in 1876. On Martha's Vineyard, you won't see any chains such as McDonald's or Starbucks, and there are about 15,500 locals on the island who live there year-round, while in the summertime there are about 115,000 during the summer.
All right, and that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening.